Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel on the college process. Once again, I'm Ed from Principia Prep, and today is Friday, so we're going to be doing our Friday special here where we do a Zoom meeting, and I put it on YouTube by basically answering all the questions you guys leave here on the channel. I'm going to start from a couple of weeks back, because obviously for the holidays I took a little bit of time off, so I'm going to start off right from the beginning, starting from about 3 weeks ago, go through all the questions, answering all the questions you guys leave here on the channel. So then if you guys do this, or if you guys are new to the channel, by the way, every Friday going forward, I answer all the questions you guys leave on the channel for that week in video format like I'm doing now. So if you guys have questions, if you're watching any other videos, or even this video here, if you have any college questions, just leave the questions, the comments on the videos here, and I'll answer your question every week going forward and upload it here on Friday. That being said, let me jump right into the questions here. First question down at the bottom from 3 weeks ago. I don't know why I couldn't be able to apply because I'm not a resident of US. I'm an international student. How do I use my social security number? For this student here, for this individual here, many of you may or may not know, you can actually have a social security number and not be a US citizen, believe it or not. Now, to apply for any financial assistance whatsoever, especially the federal aid specifically, you guys need to be a US citizen or a permanent resident, or a couple of other requirements here. I actually made a video about this actually for the students out there who are not US citizens or not permanent residents, or the ones who are in the middle of the mix kind of thing. I actually made this video here. The description down below is the link if you guys want to watch this video. But if you are not a US citizen, or if you're not a permanent resident, we're in the process of being so on and so forth, you guys are not eligible to fill out the FAFSA form for any financial aid assistance, unfortunately. Okay. That being said, if you have any questions or wondering kind of what your situation is, your status, once again, this video right here, I put it on the screen. Down in the description down below is the link. Has more insight kind of how the whole process works, but that's kind of how it works as far as you have to be a U.S. citizen or permanent resident to be able to apply for financial aid. It also, in this video, also, once again, I have more insight about this if you want to watch this video here. That being said, let's go to the next question here. Hi, since the student loan, this is Jesse talking about here. And by the way, those watching the video here, I forgot to mention, over here is the questions that are coming in from the video. So these specific videos relate to these questions here on the left. Okay, so let's go to Jesse's question here, the third one down here. Next question here. Since the student loan forgiveness is blocked, is there another way to file? Unfortunately, there's not. So what we're doing right now is we're waiting to see essentially what happens with the U.S. Supreme Court to see what their decision is going to be. Supreme Court has now taken on the case to hopefully allow the student loan forgiveness process to go through, essentially. But it's going to take a while, unfortunately. The Supreme Court typically doesn't just rule on something very quickly, like a few days or so. It usually takes a lot of time, like weeks, if not months and months and months, unfortunately. So right now, you just have to wait to see what happens. Hopefully, it does go through. And if it does, it's obviously going to help a lot of people out. But right now, all we can do is essentially wait, unfortunately. And the next question we have here from your boys up here. Do you have to pay for transportation costs if you're living on campus? Now, many of you may or may not know, when you're dealing with a school specific cost, their budget, the specific cost is called the cost of attendance. The cost of attendance has a lot of components to it, being tuition, room and board, transportation, etc. Transportation costs do not actually get paid to the college, by the way. Transportation costs is kind of their way of saying, okay, if you're commuting here, this is the average cost it would get you to basically drive here or fly here, gas, train, so on and so forth. So their way of showing how much expects or how much they expect it typically costs for a student to attend that university if they're commuting there. And when they mean commuting, by the way, they mean dropping the student off in the fall and then picking them back up in the spring. They don't mean like Christmas break, Thanksgiving, that kind of stuff. Transportation costs are not part of that. Okay, hopefully that answers your question here. Let me just go down. And by the way, if you follow our video before or seen these other formats of my Friday questioning answering situation here of these videos, I don't go through your comments. I just look for the questions. So I'm not going to be reading comments you guys put here, like thank you for the video, so on and so forth, which I appreciate. Obviously, it helps the channel. More video comments you guys leave. I just go through the questions, the answer your questions on the Friday video that we're doing here. That being said, let's go with Red AJ here. Looks like it has a question here. Hi there, question. So my son has been accepted to several colleges, among them his second choice. We're still waiting on the first choice. Should we deposit for his second choice is the question. I would not deposit yet. No, because it's still early, by the way. Most schools, unless you're doing early decision 1 or early decision 2, you have to basically deposit in the next couple of weeks if you're doing early decision 1 or early decision 2. Since you more likely did early action or regular or anything else really, you have until May 1st to deposit. So there's no rush now to deposit. Since you're waiting for your first choice to come through, I would wait to see what comes out with your first choice before I made any deposits to any colleges, by the way. Because once you deposit, they technically have your money. They're not supposed to give it back to you because it is a deposit to lock in your spot. So I would wait. I would not be depositing right now. It's still January. It's still super early. You have plenty of time to deposit. I would not be doing it right now. Okay. So let's go here. As I mentioned before, obviously these comments here, I won't be going over these comments, but these are basically related to our scholarship program. Obviously, those who watch the scholarship video, this one right here, the James Russo Memorial Scholarship. Obviously, those who are new to the channel, we do have a scholarship program every year. We do get about thousands and thousands of dollars to graduating high school seniors. If you want more information about our scholarship program, the James Russo Memorial Scholarship, obviously watch this video here. In the description down below is the link. Okay. That being said, let me keep going down. Here we go. We have a question here. Do you think it's good to put a lot of money into the 529 plans? This is kind of a tricky question from the answer for a few reasons. Number one, I have no background on you whatsoever. So I don't know how old the student is. I don't know if it's being funded just by the parents, by the grandparents, the uncles, the aunts. I don't know what your income situation is. So I don't know a lot of factors here. But from my perspective, I always tell families it is good to have a 529 plan as far as saving up for the student's college education, because you never know where they're going to go. And you never know what the costs are going to be. So to have something in place as far as college savings, whether you do traditional 529 plans or the UTMAs or UGMAs, or just set up a savings account, to be honest with you, or a checking account or savings bonds, whatever it may be. It's always good to have something in place to help pay for the college costs, regardless of how kind of you situate it or you fund it, so on and so forth. It's always good to have something in the background just in case. Obviously, if you want more insight, obviously you probably watched this video here on the 529 plans explaining the good, the bad, so on and so forth. But I also do have other videos about 529 plans like these ones right here. These will also I'll put in the description down below. I'll put the links as well for these 529 plan videos kind of explaining how they work, good, bad, different, all these different aspects about 529 plans. Okay, that being said, let's keep going down here. Let's figure out if we have any more questions here. Okay, the next question here looks to be from here. O'Reilly. I'm not sure what the question is, but I think the question is asking about the video. Did the Biden administration really forgive $6 billion? And the reality is the Biden administration has actually forgiven well over $6 billion so far, mostly for the students that were attending for-profit colleges that were either scammed or ripped off or, misled essentially. So yes, there's been a ton of money, billions of dollars that's already been forgiven already. Not for the big masses, as far as the 40 million plus students who have student loan, federal loan debt. For them, we're in the courts right now waiting for that. But as far as student loan forgiveness, it has been going on. Public service loan forgiveness as well, on top of the for-profit colleges. So there's been a lot of loan forgiveness, good, bad, or different. Not everyone's gotten it, but it has been giving out and has been billions upon billions of dollars. Believe it or not, it has been. Hopefully the Supreme Court rules in the favor of the student loan people as far as giving the forgiveness to help everyone out there. But in the meantime, we're waiting on everyone else's student loan forgiveness right now, unfortunately. Okay, let me go to the next questions here. Let's see here from Maxwell up here. Now, let me see what the question says here. Our FAFSA EFC is greater than the cost of attendance at the short list of schools. We don't anticipate getting federal aid. For the CSS profile, question on what the parents can contribute, what should we put on there? Now, when it comes to the FAFSA form, those who fill out the FAFSA form know at the end of the FAFSA form, you get expected family contribution number indicating how much they expect you can pay towards the cost of college. Based on the situation here, they're basically indicating, let's say an example, the school's total cost is $40,000. And the FAFSA's EFC is saying you're over $40,000. Let's say that you're saying you can pay $50,000 in costs. That means you have no financial need. That means you have no financial need at all on the federal side, the state side, even the institutional side, the college's own money. So for you guys here, you guys would be looking on the merit aid for any financial assistance whatsoever. So basically scholarship money, because scholarship money at the college on the merit aid based on GPA, SAT scores, etc., they don't care what your financial situation is. Scholarships are given out regardless of your financial situation. But need-based aid grants are off the table. Work study, as you're asking here as well, unfortunately also off the table because work study does require financial need, because work study does require financial need to be eligible for work study, unfortunately. So for you guys, it would really be just merit-based aid I'm looking for, okay? Let's look a little bit further. Looks like we have another question here from Maxwell again. Let me see here. FAFSA PDF question 80, is either parent a dislocated worker? Was not asked when I filled out the version of the form. The reason you were not asked, by the way, if those are wondering, the dislocated worker question, which used to be a standard question on the FAFSA form, it's standard question on the CSS profile if you're unemployed or dislocated or retired, so on and so forth, or employed or self-employed, etc. CSS asks you all that. On the FAFSA, it'll only ask you if you're a dislocated worker if you're making typically under $45,000 to $40,000. If you're making over $45,000 with adjusted gross income, they will not ask you if you're a dislocated worker. They believe that you are working. So what will happen is if you are a dislocated worker, or if you have been let go, if you're unemployed, so on and so forth, and you're looking for additional financial aid consideration, you have to contact the financial aid office after you submit the FAFSA form. After you submit it, then you can do what's known as financial aid appeal. This financial aid appeal will allow you to go to the college and basically say, I was working, I'm no longer working essentially, and I need more financial assistance. What forms do you need from us? To allow the process of getting you more financial assistance in the form of grants, either federal, state, or from the institution itself. Okay, let's go to the next question here. This question here is about work study. I'm confused. Let's say you get offered $3,000 for one semester. Very likely you're not going to get offered $3,000 for one semester. That's highly unlikely. I just start by saying that. Now, I've been doing this, the college advising, for 25 years, and I've worked for various colleges. I've never seen a work study program higher than $4,000. And that's like the highest I've ever seen, which is a very high number. Typically, work study programs are 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 tops, to be honest with you. So it's very unlikely that the example you're trying to ask me here is ever going to happen. I'll just start by saying that. Very likely, no school is ever going to offer you $6,000 of work study. It's virtually impossible. It never happens. Just saying that right off the bat. So before I read this and go any further, letting you know it's never going to happen. Just being honest with you. And see here, so I have a breakdown of what they think the math will be. You only get $9.36 per hour, assuming you can work. Now, this assumption here, unfortunately, this person is assuming a certain amount of hours they have to work to get the work study, so on and so forth. Every college's work study program has a different hourly rate. So unfortunately, your equation here, unless you know exactly what they're paying for that department, your equation is not going to work out. If you're asking me, does it make more sense? It looks like you're to work off campus. If you watch the video, you also realize that work study does not count against you for financial aid consideration. So if your student using the same equation here were to make, let's say, $9,000, because obviously semesters are 4 months each semester. So fall semester, 4 semesters, or 4 months, sorry. Spring semester, 4 months. Then the summertime, 4 months. You're indicating here their students going to make around, let's say, $9,000, 3,000, 3,000, 3,000. If you made $9,000 of work study, doesn't count at all towards financial aid as far as against you, because the student's income doesn't count for work study. If you made $9,000 outside of work study, the income will be used against you because of the fact it's not work study. So you technically would be losing financial assistance. So I would obviously check with the department your student's looking to work for and see what their hourly rate is. But assuming it's $9.36 is not a good assumption. It's not the way it works at all. Every school's department has their own hourly rate. Unless you knew what that number was, the number you're providing here as far as the mathematics and the equation doesn't make any sense. Just being honest with you, because if you are a lifeguard at the school, more likely going to be paying you 15, 16, even I've even seen $18 an hour. So your equation is 50% of what that person would actually be paid. So you have to check what the school's department was paying, not just assuming you have to work a certain amount of hours. Okay, just giving you the insight here. That being said, let's go to the next question here. I'm confused. If I add employee retirement money I received from my deceased spouse, I read in many places pensions don't, you know, you don't, but 1099 are. So I'm not sure what your question is here, but let me kind of break down the way it works in the world of financial aid. If you are getting retirement paid to you, like your pension's paying to you, then that money counts as income. Or if you're retired and you're taking money from your 401k, your IRAs, your Roths, etc., that money does count. On the FAFSA form, what does not count is the valuation that you have. So if you have a $400,000 401k, okay, or 403b, whatever you have, or IRA, etc., that does not count in the world of FAFSA. What does count if you're taking money out of it, that counts as actual taxable income. That would count on the FAFSA form. Also, the money you're putting into retirement every year also gets backed into the FAFSA form as well. So if you're not sure if you are putting money into retirement, let's call it 401k, 403b, so on and so forth. If you look on your W-2 on line 12, it will show you what amount you're contributing to your retirement account, and they will count that portion as income. But on the FAFSA, they do not count the total amount you have in retirement. They do count, however, if you're putting money in every year, the amount you're putting in, and they do count if you're taking money out in the form of income. So this is kind of the things to think about when it comes to the retirement stuff. Go to the next question here. 2 days ago, in case we went through the last 3 weeks pretty quickly here, but Hi, my daughter had a 4.27 GPA out of a 4 scale at a top Massachusetts public school. Unfortunately, she chose too many difficult courses senior year, including AP Calc, BC, 3 other APs, and she is, for the first time, is registering at B. Okay. We are now wondering if she should do ED2 given her grades. This is the tough part about the early decision stuff. You guys asked me a lot about the ED1, ED2, restricted EAs, and so on and so forth. I don't know anything about your student whatsoever. I don't know how many of APs they have. I don't know what their SAT, ACT scores are. If they're sending it or not sending it. I don't know what the program you're applying for is. To give you an example, if you're applying to a high level engineering program versus just undecided or a business program, it could be a lot easier to get into school or a lot more difficult to get into a school. Just kind of like things to think about in the mix of this. Now, if you're wondering, should I do early decision two? It's all based on you. If you love the school and you like it, and it's competitive and you're looking to do ED2, then I don't see a problem with it. But if you're looking at it from the perspective of we're only using ED2 because we have no chance, or we think we have no chance other to get into the school without ED2, and the student doesn't want to go there, or you can't afford it, or any other factors, then I wouldn't be doing ED2. Early decision two is the same thing as early decision one. The only difference, which I talk about here, obviously in the video, the pros and cons of early decision two, is that early decision two technically is an easier early decision lock-in scenario for admissions than early decision one, because of the fact that early decision one typically takes away all the people you can't compete against, like the athletes. Unless you're an athlete, you can't compete against the athletes, or the families of influence. Both of these things, by the way, I talk about in this video. Families have given away millions and millions of dollars to college, i.e. donations, or families of influence like congressmen, senators, very rich people, essentially, or people as far as actors, so on and so forth. People that have influence, call it. That's why I say use the term families of influence. Okay. Outside of those people, once those people typically get out of the way, which is usually through the early decision one category, ED2 means it's an easier opportunity to get in. Also, ED1 also eliminates the insane students. The students have 15-page resumes. The students who have a 7.0 out of a 4.0 scale kind of scenario. Obviously, the 1600s, the 36 ACT scores, all those students, most of them are out of the way, which kind of helps you from a competitive point of view. So would I do early decision based on this is the school I want to go to, my student wants to go to, we're okay financially, they love the major, it has everything, and I want to lock myself in, I know it's going to increase my chances, then yes, I'm going down that path. But if those things are not all checked off, I'm not going down this path. Hopefully that answers your question. Unfortunately, I can only answer it so much with this little amount of detail. That being said, let's go down and see what other questions we have here. See here, 50K or less, I get it, but 20K for someone making 70,000 is different than someone making 35K. I don't know what your question is, unfortunately. If you're saying that the number should be higher or lower as far as the forgiveness, I think it is a pretty good number what they're giving away based on the fact that most federal student loans, for most students at federal student loans, break down to they have $5,500 for freshman year, $6,500 for sophomore year, $7,500 and $75 for junior and senior year. So total, most students have between $26,000, $27,000 of federal direct loan debt, which means if the federal government's willing to take away $10,000 or $20,000 through the forgiveness, they're taking out a huge chunk of federal student loan forgiveness. So I think the numbers are pretty generous. Other people think differently, so on and so forth, and I get it. Everyone has their own opinion, up to you guys. But doing this 25 years, I think taking 10 off or getting 20,000 off if you're Pell eligible is a pretty good deal. Obviously, it makes it through, hopefully it does, the Supreme Court. Okay. That being said, let's see what other questions we have here. Hi, thanks so much for the videos. My question is, can a non-citizen receive financial aid? Can a non-citizen receive financial aid by filing with their alien registration number in place of social? Yes, if you watch the video, this video here, I actually explain if you guys are US citizens or permanent residents, i.e. have an alien registration number, you guys can apply for financial assistance. So you guys wouldn't be going in a different path. You guys would be filling out the FAFSA form like everyone else. US citizen or permanent resident, or I'll put it up here, I also have in this video, these criteria right here, if you guys meet these criteria here, you're eligible to fill out the FAFSA form. Okay. Let's see here. Next question here from a day ago. I'm a caretaker and I plan on going to school soon. And I was going to fill out the FAFSA form. And I was wondering, since I'm older than 24 and I do live with elderly in the house, do I even need to fill out the parent section? Good question. If you are filling out the FAFSA form and you're over the age of 24, I would typically 9 out of 10 times indicate yes, fill out the FAFSA form without. Do not answer the parent section. Because what happens is being age 24 or older, and some other criteria too, like being married, having a dependent. I'll put it up here now. You can see all the different requirements here. If you're 24 years of older, you don't have to count the parent's income anymore, which is obviously a big benefit because it obviously takes their income out, which allows you to have more space available for financial aid consideration. So in most cases, 9 out of 10 times, I would say yes, do not count the parent's information. Okay. Let me see the next question here. How about students over 55 FAFSA grad school with income assets? Let me see here. This video is about the controversial ways to controversial but effective ways to increase financial aid. Well, when it comes to being over the age of 55, and if you're going to grad school, whether you're 55 or 24, by the way, or any age really, once you go to grad school, there is no financial assistance on the free side. It's extremely rare. Most schools, if you're going to grad school, only provide you federal direct loans in the amount of $20,500, and they are unsubsidized, which means there is interest accruing on that loan. Some schools will provide grant money, but it's very difficult to get on the grad school level. Also, you have fellowships, grad assistantships as well to help out as well. But it's rare you get any free money from the FAFSA form once you're doing a grad program, any kind, by the way. Let me go to the next question here. Hi, I'm confused regarding how scholarships are applied. I understand that any scholarship I get will decrease the grants provided by financial aid. So at the end, my parents will end up paying the same with or without additional scholarships unless I get enough to cover grants and EFC. Am I wrong? Please clarify. Now, I guess let me give you everyone an example here. So I think I have an idea of what you're asking here, but let me kind of show you a breakdown here. Just quick little math here. Let's say you guys fill out the FAFSA form. Let's say the school cost $60,000 and they gave you $40,000 in grants and a $20,000 scholarship. If you got an additional scholarship, then yes, they would reduce your grant money. But if you had more space available for scholarship money, then you would be able to get more scholarship money. However, any grant money you're getting, as long as there's financial aid space, will not be affected. If there's no financial aid space, getting additional scholarships will affect the grant money you have, unfortunately. Okay. That being said, let's keep going down here. All right, down to the last question here. I'm not even sure it's a question, but so can you use loan money for your own purpose besides using it for school? You can actually take out loans, whether they're federal loans, state loans, or private loans, to help pay for educational purposes, such as transportation to the college. That's one expense you can use a loan for. You can also use it for housing. So you can take out loans to help pay for off-campus housing and on-campus housing. You can also use it for the books, laptop, pens, pencils, etc., all educational expenses. Okay. Other than that, thank you guys for watching the video here today. Once again, I'm going to be posting these videos more consistently now that the holidays are over, every Friday. So any questions you guys have, please leave them on the comment section of any of the videos here. And if you do enjoy this format, please leave us a like and some comments letting us know you do enjoy this format. And we'll keep making these Friday videos every Friday to allow everyone's questions to be answered. Other than that, thank you for watching today's video, guys. Once again, my name is Ed from Principia Prep.